Hey guys, this is Carolina Varsity. We're in the 2015 season. We're in round three of the 4AA playoffs, and we got a big game. Odd enough, here late in the third round, Mallard Creek's on the road. Number six
Mm-hmm.
Mallard Creek going over to play number two Hough. I'm Dale Ross.
And I'm Matt Moore, the Pit Man, and you know, conference rematch.
Yep,
Obviously, it was a big game the first time around. Hough won at Mallard Creek, 31-28 in overtime, off that Marquil Osborne interception in the end zone.
mm-hmm.
Some things were said about Osborne's celebration after that, and I was at the Mallard Creek Butler game last week, and after Mallard Creek won, they were real excited to
Well,
get another shot.
when you look at when you look at it, he intercepted the ball and he ran down the sideline. I don't know if you've seen the highlights of it. And
Yeah, I did.
he ran down the sideline. I don't know that he was specifically trying to point out Mallard Creek. It was like he was real excited, and he may have said some things. I'm sure he probably did. Motivation. Got to watch out. What?
Well, Mallard Creek is definitely motivated. I was told in some specific terms that
Yeah,
they hope Hough won, and they did. So
right.
it's gonna be a heck of a game over at Hough Stadium. What do they call that place? They have a name for it.
So it's Huff Tough is up there.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the I don't know if they call it the pound or
Dog pound, husky
something
pound.
like that. Maybe I don't know.
That would make some sense.
We got to find
If
out.
you Huff guys know, let us know.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it here. Obviously, these guys are conference foes. This is for a bid in the state semifinals. They'll play the winner of East Forsyth, West Forsyth. For Mallard Creek, they're going to have to control the Huff running game. Huff has been running the ball really well with Williams and Nagy, especially inside between the tackles. In the last game, Williams rushed for over 100 yards, had a big touchdown run. Um, they've got to be able to shut that down consistently. They did a great job stopping Butler's run game last
Mm-hmm.
week, holding LeMay to 50 yards. So in that area, they're playing really well. Passing game, I think Mallard Creek's going to have to be aware of the single receiver on the backside of strong formations. Huff will go trips or two twins to one side sometimes, and then have single receiver backside. And what they like to do is kind of get a read on that coverage on the backside. If they see something they like going to that single receiver matchup, whether it's Hershey on the backside or if they split out Adam Smith or Osborne. So that's something that Mallard Creek's going to have to be aware of, because last week Butler really had some success throwing the ball in different areas from to outside receivers and in the slot with Duck among some other guys there. I think for offensively, Mallard Creek's of course they got to run the football effectively like they did last week. They wore Butler down with that run game, and when it came to fourth quarter, they were able to seal the game behind that big offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they got to wear Huff down up front. Huff has had some two-way players in different positions, but like it's been talked about on the forums, both of these teams are getting guys back,
Right.
and that may be a reduction in some of those guys playing two ways. But I think you're going to see it, especially in critical situations, that the best players are going to be on the field for both of these teams.
Sure. Both teams.
Thad Moss is a big advantage from the tight end position, and I think they've got an advantage there with him against the Huff linebackers and pass coverage. For Huff, they got to neutralize that big offensive line by Mallard Creek. They got to force their D linemen have to force double teams on the first level to let those linebackers come downhill and fill and make plays on Bowman and Walker in the run game. Defensive ends can't get inside and lose contain on the rush, because what Mallard Creek did really well last game, they were running the ball inside with Bowman and Walker, running the ball. Then second half, they were starting to get Smith involved off of zone read action and counter action off of those same runs.
Mm-hmm.
So they got those ends to start pinching down inside, and they would
Right.
pull it, and Smith was able to get outside and get some critical yards on a few plays. In the passing game, Huff's got to be aware of Moss and Harbison in passing situations. Those two receivers make the big plays for Mallard Creek in the passing game usually. And they both came up big last week. Harbison had a nice out and up that he caught for a big first down, and Moss had two touchdown catches and a big play action down the seam that helped get Mallard Creek in position for another touchdown. Um, I think on offense for Hough, they got to be able to do what they did in the previous game. They got to run the football well inside with Williams and Nagy. Um, I think Gibbs is going to have to hit some plays over the top to keep the Mallard Creek defense honest from Keenan on the run too much. Hough is a run first team, but I think Gibbs had one or two big pass plays in that last game that really kind of
Well, he had a big pass to Hershey.
yeah
Yeah, most definitely.
yeah, and that kind of
Or you mean the last game with Mallard Creek?
right.
Right.
That kind of kept, Mallard Creek honest. And, Butler beat them over the top last week sometimes. So that's still something that's there that Huff can take advantage of. Um, a lot of guys are thinking that Mallard Creek will win this game, given their experience. We are in the third round of playoffs. But I tell you, man, Aldridge has been here before.
Yep.
You can't discount his experience in big games down in South Carolina. And Huff has gotten better as the season has gone along. So I think it's going to be another great ball game here between these two teams.
Yeah, so there was a statement on the, well, first let me, I wanted to add in that, that old adage about it's hard to beat a good team twice. And
Right.
of course, when the two teams are very close to each other, as these two teams are, you need another edge maybe to put you ahead, and motivation of revenge is a huge.
Oh yeah,
It can be a huge motivator. And when we look, if you were to go through and look at a lot of professional, college, or high school rematches of two good teams playing each other, especially I think in high school more than anything, the second time they play, the spread is usually a lot bigger between the two. And I can think of a number of times that that has happened. So anyway, that is obviously something that plays in, and Mallard Creek definitely has the revenge factor going for them. But there was a comment made because one of the Huff posters commented about where they had been and how they've had players step up, pick up the lunch bucket, and go to work. Not all-star players, but another kid stepping up. And there was a comment about a whole lot of confidence going on, and I thought, you know what, Huff's got reason. There wasn't a confidence post, but Huff's got reason for confidence, and here's why. They beat Mallard Creek. Okay, so there's the first thing. Mallard Creek, they ended a 5-year streak of wins at home for Mallard Creek. Mallard Creek had not lost since 2010, third round, Vance, 10-7. A lot of us remember that. I was at that ball game. They ended a 43-game conference win streak by Mallard Creek.
Good gracious.
So they beat them at home. They ended that long home win streak. They ended a very long conference game win streak. They are the conference champions of the toughest conference in the state.
Yep.
And they're on an 8-game win streak. So there is reason for them to be confident. I think that they have built that confidence. Not going to say the word earned, because you build confidence. You don't earn confidence. You earn respect. You build confidence. So I think they've built some confidence, which can be a dangerous thing when you have a team like a Huff playing. And then you get a team that, the negative to playing off of emotion, which is what will probably be driving Mallard Creek a lot, is emotion can cause you to make mistakes. Because you're not focused. You're not as focused on the things that you need to be focused on. You're focused on too much of the bigger picture, and you kind of miss out on the smaller picture, and thus you off sides, and you're getting aggressive, and you're lining up in the neutral zone, or you're wanting to go hit someone in your block, and so maybe you're supposed to chip this guy and then go get this guy, and you don't chip this guy. You start doing things. I'm going to get after that guy, and you don't chip him, and now he's free. So lots of little things that emotion can play against, but it is a big factor.
Right.
Last year, Huff, this is Huff's second year making it to the third round as well. So that's kind of a confidence thing. Huff's been a second half team all year. Right, and they were a second half team in the Mallard Creek game. They were down 14-7 at the half, and they came back and won the ball game. As you say, Osborne got that big interception there in the end. Also, I think for Hough, it looks like they're going to have Stevens on the field this week.
Mm-hmm.
So Stevens dressed, I understand, the last two. I know he dressed last week, and I think he dressed at the game you were at. They said, but they didn't play him.
Yeah, he definitely didn't play.
Right. They were only going to play him if they needed him. And what's important about Stevens, besides him being a D1 linebacker who's got speed to go from, sideline to sideline, that lets them have Nagy be less of a two-way player.
Right.
So, he plays at that linebacker position. Was one of our players of the game. He had some big linebacker plays in that Aubrey Kell game. So, I think what Hough has got to do is, one, they need to limit the big plays. They can't give those up to Mallard Creek. They need to make Mallard Creek work for those. Because some of those scores from Mallard Creek were big play scores. So, you need to shut that down. They do need to have, you hit it, I think Nagy and Williams have got to have a good game.
Yeah.
But they can't, in the Audrey Kell game, I think they threw the ball 5 times.
They're going to need more than that.
They're going to need more than that. Exactly.
Most definitely.
Nagy had 100 and I think it was 97 yards. Williams had 97 yards. It's good offensive production out of both of them. But if that's all they're going to do, that's not going to work against Mallard Creek's defense.
No.
So Gibbs is going to have to step up, and he can't make any mistakes. He's going to have to play he's a good, I think we've said this throughout the year, he manages the game very well.
Yes, he does.
So he's going to have to do that. He's going to have to manage the game very well, but he's going to have to make some throws. They're going to have to, I think, play Osborne a little more on offense so that they can get the ball into that playmaker's hands, because they're probably going to need a big play somewhere here in this game. And I'm expecting that Mallard Creek will try to limit him in big plays by not kicking to him. Kicking, it's kind of hard to even kick away from him. He'll go get the ball, but not kicking to him. Audrey Kell did a pretty good job of that with some high booming punts that were of decent distance, which allowed coverage guys to get down. And
Harbison did the same thing last week.
So they exactly did the same.
Yeah.
He did that to
limited duck
right
in the return game.
So they're going to need to do that. I think the X-Man is going to have to step up. And that's Osborne. He will have to step up in this game. Now, he steps up, but he's going to have to, like you say, everybody's going to play. You're in the third round. We're at a point right now. Losers go home, and basketball is already 2 weeks into the season now. So. I don't know if Osborne plays basketball. He'd probably be a very good basketball player, but I don't think he wants to be pulling up for threes right now. I think so he's going to have to step up. And I think the deal with Nagy might be pretty big, in that he will be able to focus more over on the offensive side of the ball. Something I hadn't seen out of Hough in the 2 games that I saw them is I didn't see that they don't appear to do a lot of screen stuff, which I would.
No, they're not a screen team from what I've seen. I didn't see any in the West game that I remember.
And I would think that would maybe be something that could be effective with those 2 backs that they've got. Mallard Creek, they're the defending state champions, so they've got a revenge factor of having been beaten. If Osborne did piss him off with his whatever he may have done down the sideline, it might be a lesson to players. Things can come back to bite you. But in the moment, you've just had a big win. It's understandable. But is it going to be a motivator? We're hearing it is. That's what we are hearing. Revenge. I think Mallard Creek's going to. The other thing I think though is Mallard Creek has to be cautious, and they should continue doing what Palmieri said they wanted to get back to weeks ago, and I think they got to continue that, and that's playing smash mouth football.
I think that's going to continue. I don't see a scenario where, they're going to come out and start throwing the ball around a lot. I mean, you may go play action early on, maybe first play of the game or in the first series if you get decent field position.
Mm-hmm.
But for them to come out and start throwing it all over the place, that kind of plays into Huff's hands,
Yeah.
honestly, because I think their strength is in the back seven.
So I'm not. The problem is if this revenge factor, how much it's crept up from the players into the coaches, then the coaches start making, well, I'm going to do this, and it can cause coaching to also change, and that's probably not, that would not be a good thing. They need to stick to their plans.
I don't think Mallard Creek, like you said, they're two-time state champs. I don't think they'll be affected by those kind of things. If this was maybe their first time here, maybe, but there's too much at stake for you to start coaching emotionally.
I hear that, but it happens. It happens. So obviously that has to be managed. We would.
It most definitely does.
You would hope that it wouldn't, but it can. Now the biggest thing is, I think, what is Mallard Creek's made. They make mistakes. They made mistakes last week.
Yeah, 3 turnovers in the first half, and they were still leading at halftime.
But they make mistakes. They commit penalties. Each of the games I've been to, that I've seen them, I saw them 3 times this year. They are they're a team that makes penalties, and they make penalties sometimes at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
I think in a game like this, they're going to have to be. Huff's going to have to come out and be focused and commit no turnovers, not have penalties themselves. They're going to need to be that, but I think Mallard Creek's going to need to be the same way. They're going to have to cut back on those mistakes because this is not a team, in my opinion. This is a team that's, if they get going their way, they're going to consume clock. So we're not going to see a real high-scoring ball game if Hough is on their game. If Huff's on their game, we're going to see a lower-scoring game. When you look at both teams, and if this game is a physical game, for the length of the game, you probably have to favor Mallard Creek because of their size and their apparent strength and their depth.
Yeah, that's what I was getting ready to say.
Depth is that's a big factor for Hough. Huff's got good players. They've got some athletes. They got some of the top athletes in the city. Mallard Creek's probably got a few more of those, but Mallard Creek's depth of those kinds of players. At Hough, you get more into that kid that's going to go pick up the lunch bucket and go to work, and he may be able to step up, but Mallard Creek's got a little bit more of those starish type athletes that can step in. So if injuries become an issue, or if you pound, that's going to wear on you. Physically, right. That wears on you.
And that's the concern I was voicing earlier, because, Mallard Creek has that ability with that run game to really just, sometimes, Hub's going to stop them at points.
Right.
Just like last week, Butler had, some negative plays. But if you can stay with it and stay consistent, over time, it's harder to keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting. You got 300 pounds across the board leaning on you.
Right.
And Hough plays with really good technique up front, but I think, the Mallard Creek offensive line's got a strength advantage there.
However, I think when you look at the lines, both Hough lines are better than the Butler lines. They're a lot stronger at those points. So it's going to be, those are some strength points for, in fact, that front seven for Hough. That's a darn good front seven that played last week. Is a darn good front seven.
Oh no!
And now
take nothing away from them. They're very good.
Well, now they're going to be throwing in Stevens, who's that's a D1 linebacker right there. Playing in the ACC next year. So that's a good front seven, but it's a tough. The key there, I think, is it's a little bit tougher front seven, especially down on the trenches, than what they faced last week. Now, granted, Mallard Creek's bigger, I agree. But I don't think they're going to have as easy a time wearing, but
No,
they'll wear them down.
It's not. I'm not believing. I'm not saying it's a domination kind of thing, but you could tell in that fourth quarter on that last drive,
Sure.
especially that Mallard Creek was starting to win that battle up front, and that was the big difference.
Right.
In the game. But I tell you, man, it's gonna be a classic.
I think so.
I think it is, and you're gonna be there.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. The report says, of course, the report gives no respect to Hough. I don't know. I like the report, but it's funny that last week the report was predicting Butler to be the state champions, and Mallard Creek beats Butler, and now Forsyth is projected to be the state champions. Here, the report's predicting a 29-22 ball game.
Okay.
Mallard Creek.
One score game. Sounds about right.
And I think the game's should be a one-score game. I think personally, if the game goes, if both teams are on their game, then the game's going to probably be. You will not stretch into the 30s. I don't think.
I don't see that.
I don't think it'll be as high as last scoring as last game. Something happens. Something can happen. You would certainly hope it's not somebody not showing up to play.
Yeah.
You know,
I think both teams are gonna be really ready here. I really think it's gonna be a really, really good game.
Don't eat that leftover turkey on Friday. That'd be the wrong thing to do because it will slow you down. Even if you only eat a little bit of it. There's chemicals in that turkey that will slow you down. So anyway.
Welcome to Dale's science class. Y'all thought y'all were out of school, but
I'll bring my daughter in and she'll explain it to you. All right, it was a long video, but I think it's going to be a good ball game.
Thank you for watching, sticking with us. We appreciate your support.
Yep.
And I hope you guys have a great game Friday night.
And anybody watched to this point, come join us. We'd love to have you. Even a Hough mom, come on.
This looks small, but there's plenty of room in here.
That's right. And there were 4 or 5 of you that said, we watch you, so if you want to come on and say something, you're more than welcome. Thanks for watching.